Okay, I have no idea where I got to. It's that windy, it just blew over my camera stand, so I'll start again. Hi everyone, my name's Kirsty Ward and you're joining me on my very miserable, windy, cold plot in Lincoln, which is in Lincolnshire in the UK. It is Wednesday, no it's not, it's Thursday, the 14th of April, and it feels like February. It's cold, very, very cold. So I'm going to film a YouTube video today. Just wanted to do a quick plot tour. I think I'm going to make this tour a little bit shorter than normal. It's really cold, and obviously because it's so windy, I'm not sure how well you can hear me even with my microphone on. So I will give you a little look round. A few things have changed. I've been kind of busy, but unfortunately on all of my days off, the weather has been awful, which has made it obviously really quite difficult to get down here to do anything. I don't know if it's been the same all up and down the UK, but there's just been so much rain. I may have to do some of this plot tour holding my phone because even though the stand is propped up with now some full watering cans, it does keep trying to blow over. But I'll show you a little bit of what I'm doing. I have also today got some paint samples because my shed, I'm hoping to get that painted maybe in the next month, and I've got a couple of paint samples to try. So I'm going to pop those colours on the shed so that you can have a little look and hopefully you can help me choose. I'm going for sort of like not a bright green, but sort of like an olive, soft green colour. So I'll show you those in a little bit. I think the allotment's looking good. I have more or less done all the jobs that I need to do in preparation for the season. The only thing that I haven't done that I do need to get done soon is cleaning my greenhouse. I've kind of been putting it off as the last job because it doesn't really matter when I do that. I can sort of do that on a miserable day really, because it's just me inside my greenhouse cleaning it with some hot water. I did have to go and get some more gas canisters for my kettle and stove in the greenhouse, in the shed, sorry. So hopefully I can get some water boiled up and bring a bucket and sort of use some nice hot water to get that washed. So that is still on my to-do list, but it's not a big job and it's something I quite enjoy doing. All the beds are looking really good. I've more or less cleared the majority of the awful part of the weeds. There are still some bits that I need to do, like some little areas just where there's a bit of couch grass that I need to really like get out, but I'm trying to sort of dig that out with sort of hand tools to really sort of get in there, and I have to be careful because it's around my flower bed where I've got lots of bulbs and stuff, so I don't want to be let me just hold that a second. I don't want to be ruining any of the spring or summer flowers that are coming up. And other than that, I'm just having a bit of a battle with the ground elder on my dahlia patch. It's slowly started to creep in where some of my really beautiful dahlias are. So what I need to do is, again, probably like hand weed it out. Obviously I'm all organic and I don't use any sort of pesticides or weed killers or anything like that. Everything's just done by hand, so it does take a bit longer, but the fact that I don't use anything on my allotment is something that I'm proud of. I like to keep it as organic as possible and sort of like work with nature. So that little ground elder patch is something that I need to do. Might do a bit today, but it is absolutely freezing and the wind is not fun. It's absolutely battering my my rosemary plant at the moment, so I'll show you that. But everything else is looking good. I've got some bindweed creeping onto one of my no-dig beds. It's an absolute it's an absolute nightmare in that area. So I do need to sort of start pulling that out. The good thing with the bindweed I find is that actually like it does pull out quite easily compared to like the ground elder or the couch grass. So it's not too bad. Other than that, it's all looking good. There's a few tulips that have popped up. Not much colour. Haven't really planted anything out. Things like my potatoes and stuff, broad beans and stuff will all be going out soon. Probably at the start of May I just start I basically spend May just getting everything done. At that point, the risk of frost in the evenings, at the night time, has gone. It's normally between the 1st and the 10th of May in Lincoln that the risk of frost has passed. So for me, that's perfect time just to get everything out. I've got lots of seed sowing to do, but I have continued to get on with my seed sowing at home. So lots of tomatoes, peppers, chilies, lots of flower seeds, and then over the next couple of weeks I'll be doing all of my pumpkins, squashes, cucumbers, courgettes. To be honest, quite a lot of stuff. So I'll probably just pop a few little videos on here of what I'm up to. I don't know if you follow me over on my other channels, but I do pop more daily updates on like my Instagram and my Facebook account. So yeah, that's it really. Let me just show you around. Nice quick tour, show you exactly what's going on. And I have made a lot of progress compared to my last monthly plot tour, which technically was the end of February. So this plot tour should be the end of March, but obviously timing and the weather has been awful. So I'm kind of doing an end of March plot tour. The biggest change is down near my greenhouse. There was an area where I said there's an old compost bin, loads of couch grass, just awful weeds. I've actually spent a lot of time with my partner absolutely blitzing that area, and I've built a new raised bed there as well. So if you want to go and watch my February plot tour just to see what that area looks like, it would be a really good comparison to now. Maybe I can add a little clip from it just so you can see the difference. Anyway, I think I might have to put my hat on but I'm going to show you around. I'll just show you around the top of my plot. My compost bin is looking really healthy, lots of green and brown waste sort of mixed in. Could do with giving it a little bit of a turn, and I'm hoping if I can get the first mow in soon, I can add the grass to the top of that. The other 2 bays in my compost bay are actually filled with wood chip now, which is really exciting. I've had an amazing wood chip delivery from somebody local in Lincoln. So a big thank you to them, and I'm going to be just getting all of the paths and stuff, wood chip path areas on my allotment wood chipped, because it's all mulching down really nicely. So I'll just add a little layer to the top. So here near the compost bins I've got 3 small pallet collar raised beds. They're all ready. They were all sort of cardboarded and composted because they are no dig, so I just added a fresh layer of cardboard and compost to those. So they're all ready to go. Need to get them planted in really. Around this area I have a little bit of a problem with bindweed. I can start to see the shoots come up, so all I will do is probably like once a week is come down here, a bit of like a power hour thing where I would just come down to weed, and all I'll do is the bindweed, it pulls up really easily, so just keep pulling that up and try and get as much of the root out as possible. The couch grass isn't too bad normally because it sort of starts to creep in more at the end of summer, and I have a bit of a problem with there. But if I do see any little clumps of it, I just pull those out. Any of the perennial weeds. So the power hour of weeding is normally nominated just for perennial weeds. And I just pull them out by hand. I don't know if you can see here, this is actually my smallest rhubarb crown. I took a clump of the crown, so I have 3 big rhubarb crowns, and actually a bit broke off, so I just decided to replant it, and I replanted it here at the top of the plot just to add a bit more green to this area. It's quite dull up here, like with the compost bins and the raised beds. There's just not a lot of colour, so I added it here. It wasn't last year, I don't even know what year we're on, so it would have been like 2021, the end of 2021, and I didn't really harvest anything from it last year, but this year it's definitely ready to go, and I'm going to be harvesting a few rhubarb stalks from there soon. The rhubarb plant down at the bottom of the plot, I think it's probably ready, so I'll maybe harvest a few of those today. As you can see just here, there's still a little bit of couch grass. This area of my allotment, so this is around a blackcurrant bush. These are my dahlia beds, but this dahlia bed, I've never had enough dahlia tubers to fill the whole thing. So this half has always been sort of left. There's a few crocus, allium bulbs and stuff, and it's really nice. But the couch grass has taken hold here, and really weirdly, this bit of grass, this bit of soil, sorry, I wish I could find my words, is basically really heavy clay. Sorry, I'm struggling with my words today. I'm also very aware that those sirens are quite loud. So anyway, it's very heavy clay mixed with the couch grass. It's absolutely awful. So this has taken me forever to do. It's one of those jobs where you're like, you start it and you're really, really optimistic and think, oh, I'm just going to get all this done today. And you do about, I don't know, 4 or 5 digs of it. And honestly, like it's like pulling teeth. It's not fun. So I do need to finish that bit. But other than that, the rest of the allotment, all of the beds are ready to go, except for I need to start doing that power hour maybe once every couple of weeks for the next couple of months until we get into the height of summer. Oh, I think that might be the red arrows. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear that. They sometimes fly over my allotment, so that'd be nice. But yeah, over the next maybe like month, I'd probably just come down once every 2 weeks and do an power hour of weeding. And then as we get into the summer, it needs to be at least once or twice a week because those weeds are relentless. But other than a few weeds, it's looking really, really good. So I will take you down and show you a little bit more of the plot. Now, I just wanted to show you the rosemary bush. Now, I don't know if you can actually see how big it is, but it's amazing. And obviously it's in flower. Now you walk past this, you brush past it, and the smell is incredible. And obviously, as you can see, it's all flowering really nicely, but it's very, very impressive. Probably one of the most amazing things on my plot, really. Obviously, it's just like this all year round. It's green all year round. It flowers a lot, and it's just wonderful. But it has slightly been battered by the winds, as you can see. So a few bits have dropped onto the path. So I may just have to give this a bit of looking after, really. But yeah, it's so beautiful. Absolutely love it. Now you're joining me just on my dahlia bed in front of my shed, and as you can see, there are lots of spring bulbs coming up. Now the big focus in the dahlia bed are my alliums. I absolutely love them. They encourage all the pollinators and insects to come to and the bees to come to your plot. They are perennials, so they grow back every year, and they're beautiful to look at, and you can dry them and then use them in dried decoration, like in your house or shed or whatever. They're just all round amazing. Probably, other than dahlias, one of my favourite flowers. So I just wanted to show you that they're all starting to come through the ground. This weather is incredible. It's literally blowing me away. I'm loving it. So you are now joining me a bit further down the plot. Right in front of the camera here, where you can't see, we have another flower bed, and just above that we've got a couple of raised flower beds, my beautiful bathtub that is full of alliums and it is about to burst, so I'll show you that, and my little pond. And then obviously we go here, we've got the biggest bed, which is the no-dig bed. Over the other side directly is the perennial bed. That's got, so far, my cherry, my artichokes. It's got asparagus in there. I don't see any signs of life. The asparagus patch is probably one of the most amazing things really on my plot when I first got it, but it's been taken over by the weeds every single year, 2 or 3 times a year. I'm just absolutely battling the perennial weeds around the asparagus, and obviously you have to be very careful when you're weeding. I'm hoping I see some of that this year. If I don't, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at changing that bed. It is a perennial bed, so I've got some gooseberries to go in, I've got a cherry, I've got my, not asparagus, my artichokes. I'll probably fill that with more perennial plants, maybe another fruit tree, lots more artichokes because I'm growing those from seed at the moment at home. And I think I might look at changing where the asparagus bed goes. It might mean starting again. That's fine. I don't know if I could possibly dig up the, not the dahlia, the asparagus, like tubers, corns, whatever you call them, and move them, but they just don't seem to be very happy in that bed. So I might sort of look at just fully making that a no-dig bed by adding lots and lots of cardboard in the winter, lots and lots of compost, just to really suppress that, and then add in a lot of sort of like nutrient hungry plants that might just help stop the weeds, so and just make it a fully perennial like fruit bed, fruit and vegetable bed basically. But I am quite upset about the asparagus. Like I said, when I first got my plot 6 years ago, it was incredible, but it may have been here for quite some time. I know they say about 30 years. Not sure how long the gentleman had the plot before me, but he was here quite a while, and the asparagus has been there a long time. So maybe it's just sort of running out of energy a little bit. Oh my gosh, that is the sun shining. Oh, that feels so good. Anyway, I'm going to take you a little bit further down to show you the raised bed area in front of my greenhouse and all the progress that I've made there. I think you'll be impressed. And I'll also show you my allium, my allium bathtub as well. So as I'm heading up to the bathtub, I have these 2 raised pallet collar beds. They are full, again, of allium bulbs, lilies, tulips, things like that. Just a big mix of bulbs, and they're all starting to come through. I have my 2 big sage plants here. They are incredible when they flower in the summer. I think that's what I'm really excited about doing this YouTube channel, is that I'm just sort of showing you around while it's been bleak for the past 4 months. And realistically, in the next 2-3 months, like the changes that are going to happen are going to be incredible, and I can't wait to just show you everything. So as we move back, there's a little bit of grass here, just a nice little grass area, and then I've got the ponds there. There aren't really any signs of life in it, but hopefully like the bugs and the birds or whatever like to sort of drink out of it. Hopefully we'll see frogs in there one day. Oh my gosh, the sun, it's glorious. And as you can see, here is my incredible bathtub. Now this is my roll top bathtub. I've always wanted a roll top bath. Can't afford one in a house, and it's not my house, it's rented, so I can't change the bath anyway. But I got this for cheap, off my Facebook Marketplace. Got it for £30, and it's incredible, and it's got all the tap fixtures and stuff on it, and it looks really, really nice. So I'll just bring you down a little bit more. Now, I can't remember all of the alliums that I planted. I do have another video on YouTube where I'm planting this up, and obviously, as you can see, it's changed very, very quickly, and hopefully in another few weeks this will be bursting with alliums and colour, and hopefully lots and lots of bees and insects flying around. I'm on my no dig bed, and I just wanted to show you a bit of the battle that I have with perennial weeds. Now I have everything: brambles, bindweed, couchgrass, creeping buttercup, dandelion, even though obviously I love the fact that the dandelions are a first point of call for like the bees to get their pollen, so I never ever like get rid of those, but they do end up everywhere. Ground elder, blah blah blah, have so many, and it is quite hard. It's quite disheartening, and it could be probably one of the hardest things I think in gardening or growing your own, having an allotment, and it can probably be the most frustrating thing for a gardener, and it does dampen your spirits a little. But the best way I've found to like keep a lot of things under control is by going no dig. I found that really helps suppressing the weeds, and then also on top of that, you know, just weeding little and often. Now, as you can see, this is my no dig bed. Now the bindweed has started, and the couch grass and stuff, and this is probably the worst area, and it is frustrating, don't get me wrong, but what I do is I just try to, as I can, sort of come in and just sort of try and pull up as many of the weeds and roots as possible. Now with the bindweed you want to get as deep as possible, but obviously this is a no dig bed, so I don't really want to dig, so I just gently basically have a very quick weed. It doesn't take long, but I just pull out as much as I can. It doesn't affect my plants too much. Normally in this area I just grow all of my pumpkins and squash, and they take over and sort of help smother it a little bit. But yeah, I just go through and pull out as much of the weeds and the roots by hand as possible. It's not like I say, it's not a very long job, and realistically for me to just try and get as much out of this area where it started, it seems to be contained to this corner at the moment. So that's what I want to do. I want to try and make sure it stays there. I can see a little bit creeping a bit further. So all I'm going to do is just probably once a week, hands and knees, and just pull it out. Probably take me 10 minutes at the most. And then again, when we get to autumn, thick layer of cardboard and some compost on top, and that will help suppress it and kill it a little bit more until next year. But anyway, it is hard, but try not to let it dampen your spirits too much. But as you can see, that's bindweed, and it does come out really, really sort of easy. You can just sort of pull it, and it has slightly snapped, so there's still a bit of root in there, but it does pull out really easily. So if you don't want to see those weeds on your bed, you can get them out quite quickly. If you've got more time, obviously go deeper and try and follow the root as much as possible. But I tend to do like a really big, like a heavier weed in the autumn. So like as you've cleared your beds and got rid of all of your produce and stuff, then sort of really go for it and try and pull out as much as possible. Obviously for me, all of those weeds don't go on my compost bin. They go in a separate compost bin for weeds. But anyway, that's always the boring, horrible, unfun part of gardening, but it keeps us busy. Just bringing you down to my amazing rhubarb crown. As you can see, it's quite big and it goes all the way back here. And to be honest, this will spread to maybe double or triple its size now. But what I'll do is I'm gonna break off some rhubarb just to show you. Okay, so the first bit of rhubarb for the 2023 gardening season. Now you can see amazing thick stalks, a beautiful bit of pink colour on it. Now I'm going to wait a little bit longer to harvest more, but I just wanted to show you how amazing it is. Okay, so you're joining me now down at the bottom of the plot where the greenhouse is. Now this is a little enclosed area. I don't know if you can see, like there's obviously like the fence post and then there's the chicken wire. Now the reason that I've enclosed this area is because we do get a lot of like foxes, deer, bunnies, a bit like probably everybody's garden or allotment plot. And I do have a problem with things being eaten. So I decided that I wanted this enclosed area a while ago. It's taken me quite a long time to get this area sorted, but I wanted like some raised beds. I wanted, as the plot is quite big, I wanted to make something that was a little less work. So the raised beds work quite well like that, the wood chip paths, it's nice and easy and sort of less maintenance. And the reason I obviously enclosed it was because I wanted to make sure there was an area on my allotment that wasn't getting eaten. So that's this part. Now, I started this area in lockdown in 2020 and, got my greenhouse up and got some of the raised beds made in that year, and then really used this area a little bit more in 2021. But some of it became quite messy because it was like the last part of the plot that needed sorted, so all the rubbish just came down here. But as you can see, I've now got some really nice raised beds. I've got a couple of flower ones at the front which have got alliums and tulips in. I don't know if you can see some of the pretty little tulips coming through. I'm going to be filling those with probably some dahlias, just as a bit of a statement thing as you walk in the gate. There's 2 raised beds either side that I'm going to put some arches over to grow some like mini pumpkins. There's my onions, garlic, they're all growing well. As I said, had a problem with something eating the onions and garlic, so I have had to grow a few more at home, so I'm going to add those into the spaces. There's 2 smaller, shallower raised beds nearer my greenhouse. Sorry about the rocking, it's the wind, it's terrible. And those 2 raised beds I'm going to fill with lavender because I love lavender. I love the smell of it. I love that it encourages lots of pollinators to the allotment. So I think I'm just going to fill those up with that. It just makes it nice and easy. I have my greenhouse, which I said needs cleaning still, but that will just be housing all of my tomatoes this year. just tomatoes. And then at home, I'll have my cucumbers and chilies and aubergines at home. Might bring some aubergines actually into this one with the tomatoes, just because there's a bit more space. So maybe aubergines and tomatoes here, chilies, peppers and cucumbers at home. And then my loofahs, I need to decide where they're going. I don't know if you can see, like in that corner up there, there's lots of green. It looks beautiful and lush. It's actually just an area full of ground elder, but I'm sort of going to work with it this year. I'm not going to work against it. And what I'm going to do basically is try and contain the ground elder to that corner. There is a big bug house over there. Oh my gosh, this wind. There's a big bug house over there. I've got lots of piles of like old terracotta and wood, and I'm just going to keep adding things like wood and bricks and broken bits just to encourage, you know, like all the bugs and bits into that area and onto the allotment plot. I have a really nice plum tree in this area that is flowering and looking wonderful, so I should get some nice plums this year. I've also got a couple of apple trees on the plot. Now, the most important bit, so I'm going to go this side now, is this area. Now, I don't know if you remember, I will put a small clip on from one of my previous YouTube videos. As you can see, it was quite a mess, full of lots of couch grass, lots of rubbish, an old compost bin that needed removing, plastic compost bins and all sorts, and it's all been sorted and now it's looking much, much better. But there is now this nice wood chipped area with a new raised bed on. I'm very excited about. But I don't know if you can remember what it was like, but it was thick couch grass. There was just stuff dumped that needed going to the tip or needed going in the bin or whatever. It needed sorting. I got the fig tree there, and then I had a big compost bay. Now, the compost bay was great, but it was in the wrong place. Now, I'm very much someone that if something isn't quick, easy, accessible and to do now, like when I'm doing jobs and getting on, because I don't have a lot of time, so I like to be quite quick. Trying to get through the gate all the time with the wheelbarrow in and out round the raised beds to get to the compost heap was just not working for me. So obviously, as you know, I moved the big compost heap up to the top. So the old compost heap needed to go, so I used all the compost, like a big thick layer of cardboard along this whole area. I used the compost and spread it out on the floor just as another sort of suppressant for the weeds, and then a big thick layer of wood chip. And I've obviously added my raised bed, and there was also 2 of those plastic compost bins that were full of it was full of couch grass 3 years ago, and actually when I pulled it open and pulled it out, all of that had basically turned into soil, which was incredible. So that got spread out as well to use as it had all died off, but it obviously took 3 years in those bins, and I got rid of those bins. My dad's got them now on his allotment. So this area has massively changed, and I hope you can see how big the difference is when you see my previous video clip. But I spent a lot of time working on it. My partner came to help me, he was amazing, and it's really, really just changed this area so much. I've got another raised bed to build to go in this area, and obviously as there is part of the fence missing, and that's the reason that all of those onions and garlics went missing, I've just got to finish putting the fence. I've got a couple of posts and I've got the chicken wire, so I just need to finish off the fence and get that rebuilt. But this area is looking so much nicer, and like I said, I've got a couple of arches I want to, you know, add some vertical space. I'd love to add some more raised beds, but the cost of them is the biggest point at the moment, and then filling them with compost. But it's one of those things that will just happen over the next couple of years, like into 2024. I'll just keep adding new bits as you know, as I can afford it. I've been very, very lucky to actually be gifted 2 raised beds for this area, so a massive thank you to Zest, who sent me these beautiful like wooden planters raised beds to use. Thank you so much, because it's helping me get things sorted on my allotment. But yeah, this area's looking good. Like I said, greenhouse clean to do, and everything's ready to go. And to be honest, my allotment is just feeling incredible. It's probably looking the best it's have ever looked. I've probably got a lot of the growing area ready now. Like as a percentage, you're meant to have a certain percentage of your allotment area used, and realistically now I think I'm at like sort of 95% of the allotment area actually being growing space, maybe 85%, because there are some little grass areas that I'm using where I can actually come and relax and enjoy it. But altogether, really happy. The only thing I'm grumpy about is, well, I'm saying this as the sun's shining now, is that the weather has been awful on my days off work, which is really frustrating. You know, I want to come down here. I don't mind coming when it's dry. I don't mind coming in a bit of drizzle, but when, you know, you've got wind and you've got rain, there's not a lot you can do at this point in the year anyway, because the ground just gets too wet. But I'm very happy. I'm absolutely loving my allotment, and I can't wait to see how much this changes maybe in the next few weeks. Obviously, I'm a little bit late doing this update. It should have been the end of March, and I'm actually we're on like the 14th of April. We're in the middle of April. But I think from probably now to the start of May, there's going to be some big changes again. You know, getting jobs done. You know, making changes to like my shed, and then just getting things planted. So I'll make sure I bring you lots more little videos of like bits I'm up to, and things that I'm sowing, growing, planting, when I'm doing things, and hopefully just bring you a lot more content on here. I'm trying my hardest. I have actually reduced my hours at work, so that should make things a little bit easier with how much content I can produce for you. But if you've got any ideas of any videos you'd like to see, any information that you want me to give you, anything you want to see on my allotment or anything about me, let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think of the allotment and what you're excited to see on my allotment over the next few months. I really appreciate everyone that comes on here and watches my videos, that likes, that comments, and to all the people that subscribe. Like, I'm really grateful. I love being on my allotment. I love showing you my journey, and now hopefully as I'm getting a bit more of my self-employed gardening working, I can be down here more showing you like what I'm up to. So every comment and subscriber and every like and stuff is super important. So if you enjoy my content, please keep following, and I will keep you updated about what I'm doing down on my little allotment in Lincoln.